If you are into transformations and career pivots and self-development in the way that I'm into, you're going to really love this podcast. Today's guest is Damon Venable, who works with the Office of Public Defender in New Jersey. And Damon's got a really, really interesting story. Damon spent 35 years in a New Jersey state prison, and he's made quite the transformation. He's working as a paralegal today with the Office of Public Defender. Stay with us and find out, how did that happen? Welcome to another episode of Frolic and Detour. Damon Venable.
Yes.
Thank you for coming onto the podcast. I've been looking forward to meeting you. We've talked by phone at least, well, not every day or anything like that, but we talked a few years ago. I've been wanting to talk to you about your experience. You spent 35 years in prison in New Jersey.
Yes.
And today you're working with the New Jersey Office of Public Defender.
Yes.
How did you get to where you are today?
A little luck, but I would mostly say I got to where I am because I guess I genuinely changed into a person that kind of just I strove to be the best version of myself, and people seen that, you know. If you would have asked me, excuse me, if you would have asked me about 2 or 3 years before I came home, and you know what would I be doing, I would told you I would have been a entrepreneur, food truck, barber, you know, self-employed individual. But 35 years in prison, I found out that I had a mind for understanding the legal world. And I was so good at it that it, while still inside, it caught the attention of professionals outside. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
And so the opportunity presented itself once I was released to come work with the Office of the Public Defender. And it was like a conflux of circumstances, you know, real fast. New Jersey Supreme Court in Comer 2, a case that allowed for juveniles to be juveniles who were tried as adults and given extremely long sentences, a chance at resentencing after 20 years. And so a couple of very progressive-minded public defenders realized, like, hey, you know, there are hundreds of kids that were treated as adults, threw away by the system, who are now given the opportunity to present to a court a motion for a second chance at life, right? And again, so some progressive-minded attorneys in that office said, hey, we need some help. You know, we need to think outside the box. And here it is, you have an individual such as myself, locked up at the age of 16, a paralegal for 25 of those years.
So you were a paralegal while you were in prison?
Yeah, for the last 25 years of my incarceration, I was a paralegal. And so I was, you know, obviously, you know, you do anything for a very long time, you have to have a love for it, and you're probably good at it, right? And and they saw that, and they saw that I would bring a unique kind of approach to a collaborative legal team, and so I, you know, they presented me with that opportunity, and I was like, you know what? I said, yeah, you know, let's try that.
And what specifically was the opportunity? What is it that you do with the Public Defender?
And let me just say this, you know, I always have to say this. These opinions that I'm expressing today are my own and doesn't reflect the office of the public defender. Okay, have to say that disclaimer. So what I do is I work with attorneys that are performing or conducting these resentences. I mean, some individuals, Sergio, have been in prison for like 50 years, 40 years. You name it, you know. So they don't have families. Some of them have great family support. But as you would imagine, each individual case is totally different, right? Will be totally different. And so therein lies the problem, right? There is no production line sort of, no legal defense in a situation like that, right? There's mitigation involved. Sure. There's investigation. There's expert witness testimony. There's the individual themselves, right? Are they ready to come home, right? Do they even want to come home?
That's interesting.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
So it's and so what I do is I bring an insider perspective, right? Who just happens to be an individual that knows how the criminal legal system operates, you know, structurally, functionally, and juridically, right? And so I'm in strategy sessions. I talk planning. I talk, legal strategies. But mostly, what I do is what we call, community release plans. Okay, we release this person. What would this person be doing, right? And so judges need to have what we call like a reentry plan or a community-based, plan for this individual. What are they going to do? Who are they going to be staying with? Will they be working? How are they going to take care of themselves? What are their health issues? Like, so we try to paint a picture, say, hey, if you release Mr. So-and-so, this is what they'll be doing. This is who he'll stay with. Or this is who this is what she will be doing. You understand? And then we collect a lot of supporting documentation to qualify what we're saying that reentry plan is going to be. Make sense?
And what level of input do we call them inmates? Is that okay?
Well, in Jersey, they call them incarcerated persons now.
Okay.
Inmates are...
So like IPs.
IPs. There you go.
So what level of input do the IPs have in fashioning that plan that you help, I guess, put together? And what level of interaction do you have with them?
Okay, so let's start with the second part of that question, which is just something that's just like surreal to me. Most of these individuals I know. Some of these individuals I was bunkies with. Like, you understand? I know them, you know. I know them. So we grew up in prison system together. Sure. You know what I'm saying? So it's like very, very dear to me. So do I know them? I grew up with them, most of them. And some, I just know them from afar. But we know of each other. In some cases, I don't know because I probably was in one prison most of my bid or whatever, and we just never, crossed paths. But, the system is small in a sense, and we do have most of the time I do have familiarity with individuals that we're helping. And the first part, what was the first question again? The first part of that question?
Yeah. So what level of interaction do you have with them?
Oh, okay.
Do you like call them up and say, all right, we're working on this plan.
Right.
What do you think?
So yes, there's a system called 𝐏𝐸.
Okay.
It's a digital system that's a third-party system that allows IPs to email you. You know what I'm saying? It's really a texting, stuff like that situation. So you can communicate digitally with them. Okay. Obviously, you can communicate slow mail, snail mail, and phone calls, or deal with them through their family directly, stuff like that. As someone who's on parole, I'm barred for going into the prison system. Okay. However, but I can go into the state. I can go into the county jail situation. Okay. So if they happen to be in a county jail situation waiting for a resentence, I can go in and see them as part of the legal team, which I've done. If they are in court appearances, I can go into the bullpen as a state employee, as a paralegal. But the biggest hiccup, the biggest barrier is me not being able to go into the state prison facility, which, is really where the meat and bones of meeting the IP, attorney visits, legal team visits. So I'm barred from that, which kind of hampers my my effectiveness. But I try to make up other ways to do that. Communicating with their loved ones, staying in contact with them through the 𝐏𝐨 system and things of that nature. So yeah, the interaction is frequent. Because I have to get to know them, right? And because I also give assessments to the attorneys, like general assessments. I mean, I don't sugarcoat it. I believe over-incarceration is stupid, and I believe rehabilitation is real, right? I believe transformation is real. I believe most people are deserving of a second chance.
Sure.
And I would do whatever I can in my capacity to give that person an opportunity to present their second chance from home or stuff like that. So yeah, that interaction is very, very crucial to the whole process of
does the fact that I don't know what the percentage is, but so many of the IPs, does that ever get in the way? I mean, I'm wondering if, sometimes, familiarity gets in the way. People don't necessarily want people they know in their business. And I could be looking at this completely wrong, but I'm wondering is there ever a time where they're just too uncomfortable to work with you?
It's been situations where it's a flip side of that. It's been situations where attorneys have had kind of difficulty and getting through to an IP, and they would bring me on board and be like, "Hey, do you know such and such such?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know. Would you mind, reaching out to them and just kind of like breaking the ice, so to speak, because you got to remember, a lot of these individuals were sold out by the system. So they're not just going to be, they're not just going to embrace an attorney coming to say, "Hey, I'm trying to get you home." It's like, they looking at you with the side eye, like, sure. And then there's a cultural issue. Most of the attorneys will be white, right? And so it's a racial aspect to it. And so they like, I just did 36, 38 years because a lawyer sold me down the river and y'all just threw me away. So why should I just trust you? So, and that's one of the hardest parts of my job is you asking me to talk to this individual who I know, right? And not to say get his guard down, but to, have him or her become cooperative in their own legal defense. And I'm not going to do that if I don't think that you have their best interests at heart. Yeah. So there's a couple of times where I had, situations with attorneys that we just didn't see eye to eye. You know what I'm saying? But, I'm a professional. I prepared myself for things, but I'm always going to do what's in the best interest of a person that I feel is deserving of a second chance.
Is there a certain amount of time that the IP must spend in prison before they can take advantage of resentencing, or is it just the sentence is up for, I don't know, a second look?
Right. So with respect to juveniles, and that's my specialty, just in the last 3 years, Jersey has allowed for resentencing of its juvenile incarcerated population after 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah, after 20 years. You have to do 20 years. Yeah, and here's the kicker too, Sergio. You have to have at least 30 or more years as a sentence to qualify for resentencing after 20 years. So if you have like
29,
you had 20 years out of luck. Right. Yeah,
it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
All right, so let's go back to 1987.
87?
Was it 87?
When I got 86.
Okay, well, 86, from what I read, that's
right.
when you were, I guess, accused and arrested for...
Yeah. April
What was
1st, April 1st, 1986, I was arrested and charged for murder, gun possession, and armed robbery.
Okay.
And subsequently waived up as a 16-year-old to be tried as an adult.
Right.
So waiver is when the court legally says, yeah, you're a baby, but we're going to treat you like an adult.
Sure.
That's the short of it. Mm-hmm. That's basically, and it's a performative utterance that, you know, the court's legal processes says you are now an adult. Mm-hmm. We can treat you like an adult, mm-hmm. even though you're a baby, mm-hmm. and stuff like that. Yeah. And so I was waived up into adult court. And by 1987, I was sentenced to, originally I was sentenced to about a total of 50 years.
50 years?
Yeah, so I was sentenced to 50 years.
What does that mean to you when you hear those numbers and you're, I guess, 17 by the time you're
right. Yeah,
convicted?
Yeah.
Are you making sense of those?
Yeah, I mean, I actually got sentenced the day after my 18th birthday.
Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah, happy birthday, right? Mm. And the best way I can analogize it, and I can get kind of long-winded, but the best way I can analogize what it's like to have a judge says, I'm sentencing you to prison for 50 years with life. 50 years with life, right? Is this. And I'm a sci-fi guy. I like Star Trek. I like mm-hmm. Star Wars. I love science. And so there was this episode where, you know, Picard, you know, he got consumed by this entity, right? And it was a race of people, or right, a planet of people that they died off. But what they did was they left this device, mm-hmm. right? And if it encountered a human being or a humanoid, it would impart their history. And so they did it through, he lived 70 years, a whole lifespan mm-hmm. in that culture, mm-hmm. raised a family and stuff like that, right? But the whole thing lasted for about 7 seconds. Right? Mm-hmm. So it's just playing with time. So the reason why I say this is this. And also, too, like, you know, the creation of the universe from a scientific standpoint says that in a matter of maybe not even a split second, a millionth of a second, boom, mm-hmm. everything came into existence, mm-hmm. exploded of mm-hmm. atoms, stuff. Right. So I say all that to say this. When he gave me 50 years to life, for an immeasurable amount of time, a very, very short amount of time, I said, what's the fucking point of living now? Mm. I had a suicidal thought for not even a split second. It was just a, you know, and I quickly snapped out of like, nah, I'm not built like that. Like, you understand what I'm saying? It was right. powerful, and it scared me. Sure. Because I was like, it's over now. Yeah. But I quickly snapped out of it and said, nah, I'll figure this out.
Feel free to tell me as much as you can about the actual incident, if you can.
No, okay.
Because I want to add some meat to the bones here.
Gotcha,
so you grew up in
Newark, New Jersey.
Newark, New Jersey. Can you take us back to the incident?
Yeah, absolutely. So I came from a 2-parent household. Okay. You know, we didn't have much, man. You know, I like to say, man, you know, we grew up with, you know, rats and roaches in the house. Like, mm-hmm. you know, poor working class family. Like, it is what it is, right? But a lot of love in the house. Really didn't know or care about being poor until I hit the streets. Mm-hmm. You know, that's where, you know, all the ridicule and, you know, stuff like that. So anyway, I always had it. That's when I developed an issue with being poor. It was more so the ridicule that happened. And then I lived in a very, very violent environment, right?
Okay.
And so my natural inclination was just, you know, a jokester. You know, I can walk away from a fight. I was not a tough guy. I'll tell a joke before I throw a punch, stuff like that. But my environment said, hey, no, you will have to make a choice, right? And that choice was buttressed and reinforced by my father and my brother, who were very, very tough individuals. Like, no, you're not going to be running from nobody. Like, we're not doing that.
Was it just your parents and your brother that you lived with?
Right. No, I have, it's 5 of us. It was both my parents. I'm the second born. My brother's first, and I have 3 younger sisters after me.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. So
who probably looked up to you, right?
I used to babysit them. Yeah, I used to babysit them. I used to They remember me. It's not like when I went away, they didn't have any memories. I mean, they were very young, but I used to babysit them. We were close in the family. So, so that edict from my family, hey, you either fight or, you got to make a choice. So anyway, my nature started to change. I started liking to fight, right? Started, being a tough guy, stuff like that. And I was a geek originally. And then I started dumbing myself down. School didn't become important. It was just a fashion show, just go to pick up girls and all that stuff. I was just out there. I just jumped head into that inner city cultural life that was going nowhere, but I didn't know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And start hanging out with the wrong kind of people, because the people that I normally hung out with, geeks and nerds and things of that, made people planning for college and stuff like that, was like,
right.
Dame is he's someplace else. And so I started hanging out with the wrong people, and that's where everything went wrong, And so one night, me and 2 or 3, it was about 3 of us. What originally started out as just joyriding in a stolen car, smoking weed, doing, just juvenile stuff. And so somebody had the crazy idea. It wasn't my idea. Somebody had the crazy idea to rob 3 individuals, other juveniles that we seen walking, just for their jewelry, coats, just dumb stuff,
It's 1986.
It's 1986. Yeah, 8-ball jackets, bomber jackets, chains, the hats, just stuff like that. Excuse me. And so at that particular time, I was just like, no thought, highly impulsive. All right, man, let's do it.
Okay.
It should be a quick, we got a gun. They should concede, and it'll be over. First robbery. I was not into that. Yeah, I was not into that. I was a hustler. I was cutting hair as a kid. I still cut hair to this day. Okay. So that was my first skill. You know what I'm saying? So and I would work. So I didn't need to be out there, robbing. I came from one thing my father told me was like, I don't care what you do in life, don't be a criminal. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, that's right. Okay, what you do in life, don't be a criminal. And that's exactly what I stayed away from that till that night. My one and only, really criminal act, involved, that robbery. And unfortunately, while we was robbing these individuals, and the act was actually over with. And so we were going back to the getaway car, and very brave, upstanding, just one hell of a person, who said, I'm tired of this taking place in my community.
Was he one of the people with you? It was just someone in the streets?
Just they called him a good Samaritan.
Okay.
A block leader, somebody who seen what was happening.
Okay.
An older person who seen what's happening.
Right.
I think at the time he was 23 or 24.
Okay.
Came home from the Navy. He interceded, and one of the individuals that I was with, he noticed them first, as we were going back to the car, because we thought our criminal activity was over. We was going to the car, And so I heard, one of the individuals, cohorts, said, "Hey," it's like, "Yo, turn around. Somebody coming for us." And I turned around, and it was a gentleman, and he was like, "Give me the stuff that you just took," And originally, he was talking to one of the individuals that was on my right hand side. And so we all just backing up, like, we kids, like, we didn't know what to do. And I guess
all of you were about the same age.
Oh yeah. Well, there was one individual at the time. I thought he was our age, but come to find out, he was about like 19 or 20.
Oh, he was an adult. Okay.
Yeah, but he was just kind of like hanging out with us kids, and he until this day, I think it was him, the one that really had the idea to rob the individuals, right? So anyway. Individual encountered us, what he didn't realize that, I guess he thought it was just, kind of, what we call a strong arm robbery, just like with the hands, like, we're going to beat you up if you don't give us your stuff. He didn't know that, there was a gun involved. I actually had, a weapon, and so he started approaching us. I would never ever say that, I always take full accountability, right? It was a single shot, impulsive, fear driven, adrenaline rush, just wasn't thinking,
Right.
And, I pulled the trigger on an individual who, till this day, I describe him as a young man that my mother would have wanted me to grow into or be like. Yeah. Yeah, he was like that. I didn't know it at the time. Obviously, I would find out later. And but yeah, so it was just a tragic, unfortunate situation that in the blink of an eye, just to take someone's life like that for no reason whatsoever. It was. Till this day, I'm still trying to unpack it.
What happened to the other? Was it three of you? It sounds like it was three.
Yeah.
What happened to the other two? Friends that you were nothing.
I'm the only one that got time for it.
Really?
Yeah.
So there were no charges ever.
Nah, and
okay.
and this is I was again till this day, I just subscribing to this street code. That I really didn't understand, that that really didn't make any sense. You don't tell, stuff like that. And I felt because I was the individual that pulled the trigger, that I should bear sole responsibility for. So part of that was in it too, that I didn't tell on the individuals, because I always had guilt for doing that. And, as a young person, your executive, faculties and functions, just, you're still developing. Like, I look back at it now, like, I should have just, literally just cooperated. And the reason why I would say that is because, one, to bring the surviving victims, the victims of the murder victim, some justice, right? Some sense that all involved would pay for the crime, but also too is that when you feel like you done got away with murder, you feel untouchable, and many of the individuals that, matter of fact, all the individuals that was with me that night, life trajectory was just terrible. I mean, like literally, one died like maybe 2 years after, not even 2 years. Just somebody blew his brains out on in the hood. The other one suffered serious, substance abuse addiction, in and out of jail.
Okay.
Almost died twice, gunshot to the head. Just being out there in that lifestyle. And the other one was just in and out of jail. Right? You know what I'm saying? It was just in and out of jail. Don't know where he's at. Last time I heard about him, he just looked terrible, and here I am.
Do you feel in some ways that, I mean, I don't know, prison saved you in a way?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I felt that way when my moms first came to visit me in the youth house.
Okay.
You know, it was like, like, man, like what happened? You know?
Did you serve the entire, was it 35 years?
Yeah, I served.
In the same place?
No.
Okay.
No. So I did maybe like about 6-7 months in the youth house facility. Then they waved me up. Did maybe 4 months. So the first year was just youth house and county jail.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did about 16 years in New Jersey State Prison, Trenton. It's maximum security prison facility. I did 16 years there. And then I did probably about 14 in East Jersey State Prison, Rawway. And then I did another 18 months, peppered in another facility. But the bulk of my prison stay was in Rawway and Trenton State Prison.
Mm-hmm.
But to answer your question, prison definitely saved me. And I knew that as a kid. One of the first things I told my mom, she was like, how are you? I was like, I feel safe. Because even at that time, I had people looking to kill me for the stuff that I was out there doing. I mean, I was out there. I had to carry like 2 guns. I felt that as though I had to carry 2 high-powered weapons as a 15, 16-year-old, and that's what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? So,
and where was your family throughout the duration of? It's a long period.
Right.
Obviously, can't talk about the 35 years, all of it. But were they kind of with you throughout that entire period? Did they fall off? Did they stop visiting?
Nah. Let me tell you this. Had it not been had it not been for their unwavering support, I don't know how it would have turned out. So when I got sentenced, my first visit, my mom was like, she was like, wow, She said, I gotta believe you're gonna come home one day. She's like, I know it, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, she don't know shit. Like, I'm like, she don't know shit, but okay, all right. So they would come down a couple of times a month, bring my sisters and stuff. And she said something to me. She was like, she said, you got 3 sisters. You might never come home, but you still a brother. You still have to be a brother to them. And I took that very seriously. I would write them, send them money, whatever. And until this day, I call them, let me use this, all right? So until this day, I call them, the lionesses. Because you better not say nothing bad about me. And so, they all are doing like very well. I'm like kind of like the black sheep. Like, my mom and pop did a phenomenal job raising, 5 kids in abject poverty, right? And instilling the Christian work ethic, self-esteem, confidence, all that stuff. They got businesses, MBAs, double master, like just sell. And so, I was very influential in that process, not knowing it. I would play word games with them. Every time they come to visit me, they had to have a word, try to stump me. That was our game. Try to find a word that I didn't know. So I was in prison. So that's all I had to do was read. I read the dictionary back and forth.
Is that right? Yeah, I understand that there was a period where you spent in solitary confinement.
7 years.
7 years.
Well, actually 7.5.
Was that earlier on or kind of in the
Yeah. So the first 10 years of my incarceration, I like to tell people, man, I was a freaking idiot. Thought I wanted to be a prison thug. I thought it was my living coffin. You know what I'm saying? I had a chip on my shoulder, just coming from the neighborhood. And, it's hard to let that, it's hard to, switch that tough guy attitude, not going to let anybody. It was kind of, that was one of the most difficult things I had to learn. I was arrogant. I was angry. I didn't know anything about racism until racism really didn't touch me. I mean, I knew of it, but I wasn't, directly influenced by it or affected by it till prison. So, I was like, most of my assaults, and that's what they tag it as, assaults on staff, were against white correction officers. I was just not going to tolerate you calling me a nigga. I was not. No, you ain't doing that. You'll kill me. Like, that's where I was at. Like, I'm not. Yeah, and so that was a hard pill to swallow. But yeah, I was a maniac.
Yes, 7 years.
Yeah, I was a maniac. So I did 7.5 years in lockup because.
And that means you're alone.
Yeah, 23. What they call 23 and 1.
And so that's
23 hours. 23 hours in the cell and 1 hour out for a rec, shower, phone. You got to do all that in 1 hour. And sometimes they didn't let you out. So I mean, officially it's 23 and 1, but sometimes you be in there. Weeks on end till one of them humanity touches them, like you want a phone call or you want to, come out for a shower or, something like that. So you got to learn how to. It's
I've read not in your situation, but that people tend to lose their minds when they're alone for 23 hours a day. I mean, did that happen to you?
Oh, absolutely. So I got a BA. From Rutgers School of Criminal Justice while I was inside. And
during the 7 years?
No.
Oh, okay.
Like, this was,
Okay.
And my thesis was mental health. What it was called? It was something, I can't think of it, but it was mental health as a casualty of mass incarceration, right? Something to that effect. And basically it was a ground level, investigation kind of my experiences. And at the time, I think I had about 30 years in it. And so what I did was I tracked that when I first came into the system, the medical lines for people, let's say for 25 people, for every 25 people, persons in the line, maybe 20 of them would be there for over-the-counter stuff, aspirin, saying cough medicine, something like that. And probably would be like 4 of them going to pick up some psychotropic meds, to deal with that. 15 years later, totally flipped. Now, out of those same 25 people, we're talking about 20 people, 18, 19, 20 people going to pick up psychotropic drugs. Yeah. Yeah, I just happened to notice that one day. I'm like, man. But I also witnessed the breaking of men's minds, so to speak. I happen to hear individuals just can't take it anymore.
Is that right?
Oh yeah. It's
Because you were around other men,
right? Well, I mean,
who were in solitary. You could
Like when you on the cell block, I was in a penitentiary. So when you think of prisons now, you see them the electronic doors and things that they have those, but there's still remnants of the old penitentiary style prisons, right, where it's steel and concrete and there's bars, and so it's like a warehouse for people.
Sure.
So you can hear what's going on. You can have a conversation with the person, either side of you or downstairs like that because you're on the cell block, and you would hear individuals just reach their
breaking point.
Yeah, crying for their mom, and and just you try to talk them off the ledge, but it's nothing you can do. And then the administration's response, particularly if they're Black, you already know, we're gonna come out. We're coming to beat you down. So the most unfortunate human reaction or experience to oppression or one's ability to not deal with this environment, like his emotions, his psychology is just broke. You're gonna come in there and beat him down. Like that's your remedy,
right?
And so that's typical, like with slavery. They'll chop your foot off for trying to run. So this has always been Western man's response to the most human reaction of Black people, right? Yeah. So same things going on now, So
right. So there came a time, obviously, I think it was afterwards that you became a paralegal in prison. Was that after the period of
right? Yeah, after I left solitary. So that was my first 10 years, Sergio. So I was like fighting police, wanted to be a drug dealer, wanted to be a prison thug, and So the first 10 years it was just in and out of lockup, and then they when I start fighting the police, attacking them. Well, I ain't gonna say attacking them, but like if you provoke me, I'm gonna give it to you. And so they were like, yo, we got to do something with this guy. So they put me in lockup. I was in lockup for about 7.5 years, management control unit. But I'm gonna be honest with you, that probably was the best thing that happened to me. I'm gonna tell you why. Because in the management control unit, MCU, there were individuals, and you gotta remember this was like early 90s, late 80s. It was still individuals who were BLA, Black Liberation Army, Black Panthers, Pan-Africanists, it's like, like scholars. Like these brothers was like highly educated, highly political conscious. You know what I'm saying? And so they removed them from the prison population. Like, we don't want these guys educating people. Like, you know what I'm saying? We want to keep y'all dumb, deaf, and blind. And so I just had a natural rebellious attitude, you know what I'm saying? And it landed me right next to individuals whose cells were like libraries. Stacks and stacks of books. That's all they had. They put books on their bed and slept on the floor. Like, you understand?
No, I understand.
So that's how they was in solitary confinement. So this is how they kept their sanity by reading,
learning. Right. So obviously, I read that by 2000 or in 2015, that was the first time that you were up for resentencing. Is that right?
Well, I had a motion. I put a motion in.
Okay.
So Miller. It was a trilogy of U.S. Supreme Court cases that allowed for juveniles to be resentenced. I was like, hey, you just can't throw them away. So it was a long, winding period. A lot of states were never going to do it. Until the Supreme Court said, nah, we got to start. Y'all just can't throw these kids away. And so. So when Miller versus Alabama came, I'm like, hey, I was a juvenile when it happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, I deserve a second chance. So it's paralegal. I put my motion together, put my papers in, and
to be clear, in that case, when I understand, the Supreme Court held that you could not be, you could as a juvenile be sentenced to life without parole. However, if you
couldn't be mandatory.
It couldn't be mandatory. And there were factors that the system had to look at, the Miller factors, in order to determine whether or not you could be sentenced.
It didn't outlaw life without parole sentences for young folks or juveniles. What it said was, you can't mandatorily impose a life without parole sentence on juvenile, you know what I'm saying? Because it robs them of an individualized accounting, right? And so you have to take these Miller factors into account. You have to take their development, their family life, maturity, impulsivity. Like you know, all these circumstances that comes with youth. Like you have to take it and then make a decision, then make a judgment. Okay, 20 years might be nice. 15 years, like, you know, then like you parcel out a sentence like that, but they didn't outlaw it. You know, you can weigh all these factors and say, you know what? Nah, I'm going to throw you away anyway. And now you have a legal fight. You know what I'm saying?
So you were denied.
I was denied
in 2015, and then it went to higher court. And in 2017, of course,
it was back and forth.
And then it remanded. And in 2018, you were denied again. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And not until 2021 did you earn your right to parole. 2021.
2021. Yeah, that 35 years was
okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I never prevailed on any of my motions for resentencing, right? Never prevailed. They just, you know, slammed the door. A couple of times I even went in and represented myself. Judge was thoroughly impressed, but he it was a black guy too. Right. Like, bro, I can't do nothing for you.
Got it.
Like, you know, the law is like not on your side. You know what I'm saying? Hell of a job, but you know, and that was that. I mean, even though like I didn't prevail, I believed him. Because he didn't have to say that. He didn't have to do like, hey, listen, man, like, wow. Hey, boy, you should be at a law firm somewhere. But that for me, that was like confirmation. Like, like I know I'm a good person. Like I know like I deserve a second chance. Like I'm a genuinely good dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? I am not that person that I was before, you know what I'm saying? So even though from 2015 and then the denials and stuff like that, for me, that was just like confirmation that it's not me, it's the system.
Sure.
Like that, like, you know, it says it's not me. I'm doing everything and beyond, right? That is required of me, you know what I'm saying? And y'all still just like, man, get out of here. You know what I'm saying? But you also see the disparity. You know, if I was white, totally different ball game. You know what I'm saying? Sure. It's, it's humanity. Oh, they want to see your humanity. It's easily to see a white person's humanity as opposed to a black person. And so that was a hard pill to swallow. But that just, you know, makes me,
fight harder. So you were released in 2021 after 35 years. You had not been out of, I guess, prison for 35 years. And how much, what was that adjustment like for you?
So let me give you some context. So my first parole eligibility was 2021, and I was, you know, preparing for that parole process. And I probably don't know this. A lot of people don't know this, but I was facing a denial rate of 92% for first time eligibility. Your first time going up for parole, don't care who you are, 92% of the time they're gonna knock you in your head, get out of here, denied. So my whole thing was I was preparing to get denied. I was just trying to lessen the amount of time that they would give me to come back up for parole. You know what I'm saying? It was already in my mind. Like, and then something happened. A very, very good friend of mine, my brother, you know, he did 32 years. Actually, he did 30 years. Became a reverend inside, got his reverend doctorate degree, you know, divinity, BA's, college stuff's just stellar. Mike, you know, just stellar. They denied him. Talking about he wasn't ready. That shit pissed me off. Scared me and pissed me off at the same time. And I'm telling you, man, like, the universe works in a strange way, because I was gonna go in there with the, you know, like saying, like, I'm going to get denied. I'm gonna put up my best face, my best representation to try to lessen the time. But when they did that to him, you know, excuse my language, I really took a fuck it attitude. Almost like, you ever see Shawshank Redemption?
No.
You never seen Shawshank Redemption?
Seen it.
Anybody here ever seen Shawshank Redemption? Anyway, he kept getting denied, and then he just finally was like, man, like he took a not give, he didn't care attitude. He cared, but he's just like, I'm not going to come in here twisting my hat. Yes, boss. No, we ain't doing that. And so that's what I did. I was like, I know I'm deserving of it. I know I should be home. I should have been with home. So I went in there with an attitude like, if y'all going to deny me, y'all going to deny me because y'all is a piece of shit. And I'm going to present myself in a way that you're not going to be able to deny that you're a piece of shit. Just because, like, it doesn't make sense. Like that was my attitude. I'm like, yo, I'm coming at y'all. Some of them even said I intimidated them. And when I finally realized during that whole process, it's because it's like a tribunal. It's 12 of them coming at you. I think my parole hearing was like 3.5 hours. He was grilling me. They ain't had nothing for me.
And they tell you right there and then?
Yeah. Afterwards, they'll be like, they'll put you on mute.
Okay.
Or you step out and they'll convene and deliberate and they bring you back in and be like, well, we're going to deny you or we're going to whatever. And I knew I was going to get paroled probably about 2 hours into it. I was like, I was like, man, like, I just had that feeling. I mean, like, I'm a very perceptive individual. I'm going to tell you why, because I was doing parole appeals for guys. I was a paralegal. So if they got denied parole, they would come to me.
Right.
And I would effectuate their appeal. You know what I'm saying? So I know the system. You know what I'm saying? And I prepared myself really, really well for it. And I said, I'm going to go on there. My whole strategy was real fast. I don't want to take too much time on it. My whole strategy, and this is what I teach, because I also teach parole prep for the clients too. I left that out. So if if an attorney's client is going up for parole, I'll prep them, like this is what they're going to do.
I think the Menendez brothers needed.
Right. No, I don't think any amount of prep in the world is going to get them guys out.
Right.
But so I prepped myself very, very well, man, and it was a game changer. I got out. I was one of handful. I mean, like when I say a handful, a small minority of people serving lifetime prison, getting out on their first eligibility. It was just, and I had a lot of help. I can't sit here and take all the credit. I had a lot of support.
How do you begin to summarize what life has been like for you?
So check this out. Okay, I'm so sorry.
No.
So, and here's the crazy thing. So I came home May 4th, 2021. People were there, coming to greet me, come pick me up, family and friends and supporters. And I remember stepping out. I mean, listen, I was going through the process, all these checkpoints, you got to sign here.
Sure.
And I'm just waiting for them to be like, oops, you got to go back to your cell. I was not happy. Even the guards and the social workers knew me. It was like, yo, you going home? Smile. I'm like, yeah.
Right.
Until you open up that door, until I know it's real, nah, we ain't doing that. I'm not going to set myself up, because the system has been like, pulling the rug from up under my feet. But man, when I stepped out that door, I was like, oh shit.
Right.
I mean, it's indescribable.
It's different.
Indescribable. I know a lot of words. Till this day, it's still like indescribable. And I was just kind of numb, right? I'm just, and my family and friends, they crying, they happy. And I'm just like, whoa. But I had this feeling like, until this day, it hasn't proved wrong, that I said, man, I just did 35 years. And that might have been the easy part. Like, that's how the magnitude and the gravity of all that just hit you. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, I interviewed Lawrence Bell, who's a friend of yours who served.
My boy.
Yeah, good for him. Served 30 years.
Lawrence served 30,
Yeah, and he described it as unreal, particularly because he was released from prison during COVID. But in many ways, he said it helped him because it's almost like the world slowed down. He was able to just come out and kind of learn how to use the ATM. I mean, because people, we take these things for granted. We've grown into, technology, those of us who've not spent time in prison. But for you coming out, you had to learn everything, right? People didn't have cell phones when you went in.
How many people had it? They wasn't supposed to have.
Oh, in the 80s? Late 80s? Okay.
Oh, late 80s? Oh, you talking about, no. Right. When I left.
Oh, you mean in
prison. I'm talking about in prison, yeah.
Got it. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I remember Lawrence said he came out of prison and I've spent time with him. And when you spend time with Lawrence, he's very present in a way that most people aren't. In a way that I haven't even...
Right. It's almost like
I've gotten so used to most people not being as present because we all live in this, and I'm sure myself as well. But when you're with him, he's very with you. Yeah, right. And it's like, it's almost like he just came right out of 1989 and you plopped him in, Yeah. And he said one of the things that shocked him when he came out was no one was looking at anyone. Everyone was looking down at a device. And when he went in, that wasn't a thing. It's just I couldn't even say a culture shock. It's like a world shock. You know, it's just like, you know, I remember being on a bus one time. It's like maybe the next day or something like that. And no, my bad. That was another incident. But me and my sister, we was just walking through the park. It was a nice day. And I'm seeing people talking to themselves. I'm like, oh, what's wrong with him? My sister, she just looking, she don't understand. I'm like, you crazy or something? And so a dude said something, and I'm still like, you know, like, what? Who you talking to? And he paying me. My sister was like, she tapped me, and she like, oh, they got their earbuds on. She's like, they on the phone. I'm like, what? She's like, no, people are on their phones. Like they got earbuds in there. Look in the air. I'm like, kids, I'm just walking around. People just like, you know, having conversations with themselves. And I just came from a place that, you know, right. If you were doing
crazy,
that,
you doing that, you was crazy.
Else going on, right?
And so, that for me, that was like a wow. I'm like, man, I'm thinking all these people crazy. It was just like so surreal. But also, too, to Lauren's point, I'm just saying. One time I seen a whole family. It was a woman walking maybe 4 kids to school, right? And all like ducks, all on like this. That just blew my mind. They were just on their phones, not even looking where they're going. I was just like, they ain't worried about getting hit by cars. I'm like,
right.
But yeah, so that world shock. It's just just little things. But I'm tell you something. Going into a restaurant like Panera Bread, or McDonald's, or something, and seeing all the variety of stuff you can get. Like the first 3.5 years, I used to just be like, and whoever I'm with, they'd be like, what you want? I'll just be like, what you getting? It's just too much stuff to process here. Like, you know, I'm like, I like that. Can I have some of that mixed with that? You know, I kind of get a number 6 and number 7 combo. Like, I don't know. That was, you know, I mean, just, you know, and it weighed on me because I'm like, man, you know, like I had anxieties about going to order because it was just such a variety. I wasn't used to a variety of stuff. It was either you had this and that. Like to give you an example, you know, like Sabir don't like hazelnut creamer.
And Sabir is Lawrence.
Lawrence, right. He doesn't like hazelnut creamer because that was the only creamer that they sold us on the prison commissary.
Got it.
Don't offer Sabir any hazelnut cream. All right. But that's just the point I'm trying to make. He, you know, and so I get it. I don't even want hazelnut. And so, you know, it's you know, the scars of, you know, exile and long-term incarceration is just, you know,
that's another conversation, a sense of a part 2.
Yeah.
And so, one of the things that Lawrence indicated is because he spent so much time in prison.
He was 14. Man.
He was 14. He was a little younger when he went in. When he came out, he realized, you know, he didn't necessarily have as much time left on Earth, right? Because you start to value time in a different way.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm wondering, you know, in your case, How have you processed that? And what is your vision for the remainder of your life?
I mean, sometimes I find myself trying to avoid that because it is a stark reality, right? I mean, I'm 56.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be 57 in April, right? And it's like, do I want a child? Do I want to leave a biological legacy, right? I have a kid. Do I have time for that? Is it fair to the child? Like, if I have a child at 58 or 59, like, I think about these things, you know what I'm saying? But, like, you're right. By the grace of God, I'm in wonderful shape. Came home, still not on any medications, but, like, I took great care of myself. I like to say I ate the best of the worst food in there.
Right.
I ate the best, like, literally, like, I ate the best of the worst food.
Sure.
It was planned and strategic for me to survive the 35 years. My mom said, you're coming home. And so I took that to heart. And so today, I'm like I said, I'm a very, very healthy individual, but, life is fragile. Like, anything can happen next year. I can develop, like, anything. So it's like, I try not to think about it. I'm adulting for the first time. That's crazy. Paying bills.
Welcome to the world. Right.
But but to your point, it's I like everyone else. I'm just trying to prepare a future for myself where it's comfortable, right? I'm like my mom, just give me the basics and I'm good. I'm not into brand names. I'm not a materialistic guy. I just want to be comfortable. So nice retirement plan, 403B with a pension, that's where my mindset is at, Don't know how much longer, I don't know how long my career will last with the public defender's office, but they're good to me, and I'm just really taking it, man. Like,
one day at a time.
Last question.
Sure. What do you want your legacy to be?
Oof. He epitomized transformation. He epitomized what second chances are really about. It's easy for you to say who you are to people, like you can identify as this or that, but accountability is, I try to make myself accountable to people. And because through accountability, I believe is how people really know you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like with identity, like you say, hey, I'm this, I'm that, I'm that. But accountability is your actions radiating and manifesting who you are. Yeah. And so I try to make myself accountable to people because I wasn't accountable to nobody. It was all about me. I was selfish. And so I live a we lifestyle, and that's my legacy, that, I just wanted to do well to my community. I just wanted to do well for my community and other people.
Damon Venable, thanks for coming on to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Sergio.
And thank you for watching Frolic and Detour Podcast. We really appreciate your support. Please check us out at frolicandDetourPodcast.com and feel free to like, share, and subscribe to our podcast. And thanks for watching.